Hey, hey, hey. It is Friday, February 28, 2025, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps, where we, as a collective of martial arts school owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs, just try to figure out this thing called life, right? We want to create freedom for ourselves. And we know one of the best ways to do that is owning a successful small business, one that is ran with systems, cultures, core values, purpose, processes, an amazing team. Again, a culture people want to be a part of. And I think that's the big disconnect nobody gets. I've had a couple of school owners reach out to me and going, man, February was a short month, 28 days. I could have used the 29th and the 30th. January had 31 days. And I had to be really brutal. I said, if your whole success is weighed upon by 3 extra days in a month, then I'm going to ask you to go back and visit your business completely, right? From square one. So again, great businesses understand success is built over time, and it's done in increments and small baby steps. If you believe in one breaststroke in 3 days, you're going to save the health of your business, then I'm going to challenge you on that. So I think that's the big thing in my thinking. Somebody had posted that again. Thank you, Corey Rose. I want to thank Corey Rose for that. And he said, you didn't tell me what to do. You taught me what I should do for me. And that's essentially what his post said. And that's really it, because I don't pay your rent. I don't feed your kids. At the end of the day, I don't do the work for you. I'm just an advisor. That's why I don't like the word consultant. I'm a mentor. I'm an example. I'm an inspiration, but I'm in no way anybody's consultant. I don't consult you, right? That's not what I do. And so I think that's the big thing is people, because it's so esoteric, don't look at that, defining why am I here? What's my purpose? Who am I? Right. And then turning that into some type of business and turning that into some impact to the community, turning that into profitability. Those are some huge steps. And there's a lot of moving parts to make that happen. Yet nobody ever gets that far. They're a technician, like Michael Gerber said in E-Myth, and they're a martial arts instructor, we'll go as far as that, and they're masquerading as a business owner. Huge difference. And it's something that I believe is epidemic at the lower level. If 20% of our industry is making 80% of the revenue, then the other 80% share what? 20%? That's horrible. That's horrible. And if we can help rectify that, I believe that the whole industry as a whole is going to grow. Right? You with me? 80% of our industry is making 20% of the revenue. They're obviously not doing it in a way that I think is representative of what the potential of the martial arts industry can be. But the huge disconnect between the guys making the 80% and the guys making the 20% is vast. So I spend a lot of time in here trying to bridge that gap. But I don't really think this group here, the group making the 80% is ever going to not come down to that level, but ever be able to be in real time in their shoes, because they're no longer there, right? They're here. So I really spend a lot of time trying to be empathetic, sympathetic, but very realistic in my expectations when I work with you. So keep that in mind as we go through today's comments. Put them in there. Bob Poole of Gold Martial Arts. Welcome, Bob. Love you, sir. Love you. Let's start by thanking our sponsors, please. Our sponsors are none other than Tucson, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, and Kin Creative. All services that I use actively. So I'm not just simply speaking as an influencer for these products. I'm speaking as a client, a customer, somebody that has found great success working with all of these businesses, from Tucson, which is a martial arts supplier. Market Muscles does our website. My Studio is our CRM system. Kids Love Life Skills is our character development component. LC Accounting handles all of my bookkeeping, and Kin Creative does all of my digital media. Plus, I work with these companies directly, have at some time, or continue to do so today. Cool. All right. What do we got coming up, Marco? We have our It's Time group mentoring. I can't tell you, we're starting to get some legs. My team's been running the modules that I normally do. They're coming up with their own voice. Marco's just wrapping up branding. Last month, Jason did curriculum. And next week, Miss Monique's on the line. And that type of learning and that type of growth for people as individuals is worth its weight in gold for me. and now we're starting to get some traction. I think what makes this type of environment unique is that we're with you 24/7, 365. We will cover the things you need to be successful, systems, all those other things, culture, cultivating a team, creating a company people want to work for, getting out your brand message, all of that. But I think what people are finding great strength in is the fact that we're a text away, because it's the day-to-day grind that you can either make really good decisions or really bad ones, for the lack of a better word. So I'm very proud of the It's Time Group Mentoring. And then we have, of course, It's Time Live Freedom coming up in November 8th to 11th. I advise you to sign up today. There's only 20 spots, and they are going. They are going. We only take 20 school owners. We do that with a deep sense of discipline because we can serve you at a higher level. It is a 4-day immersive, somewhat of a retreat. Nothing like this in the industry. Nothing like this in the industry. And you will walk away a better person. You will have the skill set and the tools you need to create your version of success. So Marco will put the link for both of those in there. If anything, schedule a discovery call with us and we'll get into that. So what is today's show all about? Social media hacks to grow your school. Now, I chose that title on purpose because when you see the word hack, what do you think? Put it in there. Put it in your comments. When you see the word hack, and this is really significant right now. When you see the word hack, what do we think? And if you're sitting there in the cloud, say hello, tell me who you are. This is an interactive gig for me, and I love your input. Shortcut. Thank you. Marco says it is a shortcut. A social media hack is a shortcut. I love it. I love it. What else do we got? It's a shortcut. What else do we have? Go ahead and share with me, folks. I'll put on the spectacles for me there. There you go. What do we have? What do you have for me? What do you think when you hear social media hack? Hack. Hack. Marco says shortcut. Nothing? Well, that's just it, right? I'm going to borrow Marco because he put that there. Thank you, Marco. Shortcut. There are no shortcuts. I did that. It was kind of a word in play. It was done in a very, not cynical, but what is that word? Satire. It was done satirically. Because you know why? There is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. Yeah, I know you don't want to hear that, right? You want to hear the hacks. Ooh, I cracked the code. There isn't. There isn't. There simply isn't. And now that I work closely with a digital media company, and I have for the better part of 2 years, I understand there is no shortcut. None. Zero. But what I will do today for you is I'm going to share with you my best social media practices to help you grow your business. The things I believe have impacted everything that I do. Cool? And again, if you're up in the cloud, I know you're coming aboard. Say hello. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're tuning in from, because I love hanging out with people. We have people joining us all the time from Switzerland and Australia and Germany. And I'm just tickled pink by that each and every time. So, number one, write this down. Consistency. Hey, what's up, Miss Monique? Consistency. Write it down. Consistency. Did you write that down? Consistency. You need to be consistent with your social media. When I often look at school owners that are struggling, and of course, we think social media is used to get new students, right? And I want to take that off the table. When I worked with my kin group call yesterday, we talked about email flows, right? Email flows. Hey, David Diaz, how you doing, sir? We talked about email flows. And the first thing I said, we understand that emails are designed to do what? To get that lead to convert to a trial. Take it off the table. Take it off, because if that's your end all be all, then you'll never invest in creating a relationship. You'll never have the confidence and the trust in your brand to send responsible emails that aren't simply filled with fear, right? Like, hey, if your kid doesn't do martial arts, will be 35 living in your garage playing Halo and, some video games, right? I'm not big on fear-based marketing. I'm very, 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 very passionate about communicating a brand through storytelling. So number one, my first social media hack is be consistent. Okay. Be consistent. Write it down. Be consistent. Now, in that consistency of social media, I want to make sure that you're communicating your brand. And that's why you'll hear me talk so heavily about what is your why. Ours is live your best life. So every social media post we cultivate must live in that value. And what does it mean to live your best life, right? Under that, I have integrity, doing the right thing. I have discipline to always do your best. I have empathy, seek to understand. We could go on and on and on with what it means to live your best life at One Martial Arts. Okay. So when we're cultivating social media posts, and I tell that to the young team who posts stuff all the time, this is what we're looking for, right? And if it's not within that parameter, then don't post it because you need a certain amount of guardrails, right? What if one day Nike was just do it? The next day it says give up. I want you to give up right now. Nike says give up. It just would create confusion, right? And conflict because people have come to believe in Nike, just do it. And all of a sudden you're telling me give up, quit right now, right? So you see where I'm going with that? But you need to have that. Do you have that? And is your story unique and different, right? We understand the format of a basic Disney movie. There is, a hero. Let's say it's, I don't know, Musafa, right? Then we have the antagonist, Scar. Then we have the, Yoda dude, Rafiki, right? Or his dad in spirit, whatever that might be, right? And then there's that whole evolution. It's the same thing here. Every Disney movie follows that form. Of course, somebody dies. Mustafa died in that movie with Simba and Elsa. The people, the mom and dad died in the boat thing. On and on and on and on. Right? Cinderella lived with the evil stepmother, because her real parents were dead. See, you see where I'm going with this? So again, once you know your brand and you know your why, ours is live your best life, and you live within those guardrails, then you just tell that story different ways, different ways, different ways, different ways, right? Star Wars, it's the same formula all the time, right? That formula is what earns trust because it's consistent. So you wrote down consistency, right? Everybody did. Next thing I want you to do, methodically go through each one of your social media pages and delete everything that does not fit your why. And again, if I go through social media, it's about live your best life, and somebody's whining and crying about how somebody cut them off in traffic, out it goes. Out it goes, right? Now, if that take was, from the empathy I learned at One Martial Arts, watching my kids' class today, helped me be more empathetic towards this person that probably was having a bad day. They cut me off. They flipped me a gesture that was not kind, and I simply smiled and let them go. See, that'd be a different take. That's living your best life, right? So you see where I'm going with that? So the first thing I want you to do, promise me, you're going to go in methodically and schedule out. Start with Facebook, go to Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're at, your Google business page, and of course your website. Oh my goodness. I went through my fitness kickboxing page and I cleaned it up last night. I went through my excellent kids page the other night. I've been up until 2:30, 2 nights in a row, just banging away at this. I know that copy that was put in there by Market Muscles is good copy, but I want to communicate our brand. I want to tell our story, right? So that's important. Of course, when the day's done, I want them to fill out the opt-in form and schedule a trial. I understand that. I understand that. But I also accept the data that nobody is there to buy. And that's a big thing I think is another big disconnect is when you post at social media, you post at Google, you do everything is buy, 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 buy. Stop it right now. When you go and clean up your social media pages, is if every second or third post is sign up for my parents' night out, attend the weapons workshop, it's only $35, book camp now, early registration, I'm done. You know why? Because we get bombarded with that day in and day out. You search for something at Amazon, boom, next thing you know, it's popping up in your Facebook feed. Next thing you know, all of a sudden you get a text. Next thing you know, you've got an email talking about that product. So again, remember, all that data is shared because that's where social media makes their money. They make the most money off data, right? I know we like to say it's ads, right? Facebook made some crazy billion number in ads, but make no mistake, it's the data that Facebook collects that they sell is where the big money is. And every indication, looking at where we are now in this industrial revolution of AI, it's all going to be about data. So in the bastion of all this craziness, if you can create this safe haven where people can come and see something that helps them believe more in your brand, more in your why, it's a good day. It's a good day. If I'm just sitting, then I can go to the One Martial Arts Friends and Family page and see a great picture of my child kicking and looking confident. That definitely gives me a little bit of hope. You with me? So you know your why, right? Number one, consistent. Number two, know your why. Number three, methodically go through every one of your social media pages and delete things that have nothing to do with your why. Delete them. Go as far back as you're comfortable with. Because you're right. I believe that too. Stuff gets buried in the ether, right? No one's going to scroll 4 years back to look at what Brannon Beliso has done. I don't think so, right? I don't think so. But you do want to clean that up. And that leads me to my next thing. In your social media posts, please, please be mindful. Somebody said, well, this is my private page. There is nothing private at social media. If you really, really, really believe that there's privacy, I'm sorry, that is an illusion. There is no privacy. There's not one person at social media I can't get to through another person, right? Think about it. You might block me in the martial arts industry, but I know 50 other people that are your friends at Facebook, and I can easily find out who you are and what's going on. So when you think about moving forward, after you clean everything up, I want you to be mindful of that. If you talk about fitness in your school and you talk about all that, right? And then you show me a picture of you with a big ass cigar in your hand and whiskey in the other, I'm challenged by that because I find that hypocritical. And that's just me. But I guarantee you, Research Rita, as Stephen Reinstein of Market Muscles communicates, Research Rita is the best lead in the world. She will go to your Google business page because she's probably that mom that's sitting up there late at night, as data shares that most moms are on the internet late at night, right? Looking for a fun and exciting activity for their child. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And she will look at your Google business page. Research Rita will look at your website. Research Rita might even go to your Facebook. And when I first really discovered that habit, it wasn't in a conversation with ChatGPT. You know who it was? My wife. Every time we have a potential new employee, you know what my wife does? She goes to their social media. I don't care what your resume says. She goes to your social media because it's telltale. Because you post at different times of days when you're in different moods, doing different activities, so we can begin to see the real person, their habits. So again, if you look at social media, we have the unique opportunity to really control the narrative. And I learned that from Apple. Apple is very strict on the narrative and how they control it. And so I believe you should be doing the same thing. Do not simply whip out your camera any time of day and do that. Now, the Brannon Beliso brand is different than my One Martial Arts, My Kids Love Life Skills. If you look at me now, this is not the guy you see in Brannon Beliso with the shades, the beanie, right? In his car driving recklessly because I'm a disruptor, right? I'm the anti-consultant. That's the truth of who I am. And that's why I did that post of me in the suit with my hands like this to really share with you what got Brannon Beliso to that brand, to that point, right? I am the rebel in the industry. I am the disruptor. I will stand toe to toe with anybody and show them there is a new way. There's a new way to do things, but that's that brand. And we're still nurturing that brand, right? But when it comes to One Martial Arts, because I am so many different arenas, I am mindful. If you look at most of the posts at One Martial Arts, they are classes, they are kids, they are the community, the culture, examples of living your best life. So please, when you post something at social media, I want you to scrutinize that. Don't just in a whim post it. Scrutinize what you post personally at your personal page and everywhere else, because make no mistake, it can be seen somehow, some way. Everybody with me? Okay. And if you come on board, say hi. Thank you for David and Monique. People, as you come aboard, I love to know that you're here hanging out with me. And I think it's pretty, pretty cool. So if you're coming aboard, say hello and give me your first takeaway of today. I want to do something new. What's your big takeaway so far today? We talked about consistency. We talked about the why of the brand. We talked about going through all our social media pages and cleaning them up. And then we talked about posting responsibly, whether it's personal, public, business, everything needs to be consistent. Okay. All right. Everybody with me on that? Cool. So, what's your takeaway? Cool. So, while I wait for that, I'm going to move into my next point. Then, the next thing, I think it's way, way, way overlooked. And I want you to be extremely mindful. And this is straight out of my playbook. Again, I'm one of the primary writers for all of the ads we do at Kin Creative. And through my study, hey, Conrad, be mindful before you post. Absolutely, sir. Um, what is sits above the fold in the social media post before you see the word see more is prime real estate, people. Prime real estate. Right? In the old days, we would say at our website, right? Everything above the fold is like, that's why you see in the old days, people would take the top of their website. It's loaded with emojis and things are moving and blinking and sign up, get a free PDF. And we're number one. Here's this token. It was just crammed. But now, data is proved because we scroll, the habit of scrolling. When you pick up your phone, right? And you're on social media, don't you find yourself scrolling, 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 right? So now that habit, and look, here we are right there. We're live. See? That habit of scrolling is normal. So people no longer just sit at the top of your website. They will scroll down, as they will in a Facebook ad. But when I see a social media post, you're going to see what's up top first. And what sits above where it says see more, what's going to make you click on see more to read the rest of this? Several things. One, what you say right there in that little bitty space, right? That little bitty space. And then two, whatever image. I find it very appalling, when somebody uses, the clickbait and they'll put a picture of, let's say, hypothetically, right? A girl dancing. And the minute you click on it, you're now, discussing crypto, right? So again, that kind of behavior is just nasty. To me, it's just wrong. But we know for a fact we live in a world of misinformation and lies. We, as schools, I believe, need to be that beacon of hope. We really need to be that beacon of hope, right? And I'd read the other day that this, I don't know if it's true or not true, but there's actual lawsuits and reports. And, the school with like a couple of generations, you know, behaving inappropriately with underage children. And I'm going, how is that school still open? And they have multiple schools. And it's not one generation, it's, you know, several generations within this. And I'm going, how does that happen? How do people get away with that? Right? How is it? How is that? Because people are controlling the narrative. What's convenient now is we can simply say, that's a lie. I didn't say that. It's AI generated. It's misinformation. And we conveniently, at face value, don't do any research. That is not the type of lead you want in your school. We want Research Rita. So if you want Research Rita, then you need to give Research Rita a reason to research. Sound logical? I think so. And if all Research Rita can do is go through a Google search, and because you haven't done your due diligence consistently, your school sits on the second or third page of ranking at Google. Research Reader will never look at you. You'll be lucky if she gets halfway down the first page. So, my goal is to position my business at the top of Google. How do I do that? Okay. And I like Google. You know why? Amongst other things, I always say don't market one way to 70 people, market 70 ways. But the reason I like Google as one source is because it's a better lead in some ways, right? If they're ready to buy, because they're looking for martial arts. They didn't just go to Google and start scrolling randomly. They will search for kids martial arts in San Francisco. That's legit. When they do that, I want to make it as easy to find us as possible, right? And do that right now. Take out your Google phone and put kids karate in your city. Go and tell me where you rank. Go. Let's do that. I'm going to do that. How about I'm going to do kids karate. Kids karate, because Cobra Kai is so big right now. Kids karate in Millbrae. Let's do this location. Oh, number 2. How's that? And the good news is, if you look at this, right, we're number 2. We're not number 1. But what's number 1? A sponsored ad. Okay? Not a good day, folks. Not a good day. I'm going to tell you why. Because people know you. It says it. It's sponsored. You paid for it. It's right freaking there. And they have 9 reviews. We're second. We're not sponsored, which earns a lot of trust because it's pay to play. You're at the top of this page because you paid for it, not because you're great, not because you're good, not because of anything. You paid to be there, Mr. 9 Reviews, right? I don't even know who these people are. Mr. 9 Reviews, right? Mr. 9 Reviews, you're at the top of this page because you pay for it. Number 2 is One Martial Arts. Oh, 128 reviews. Wow. That's pretty cool. And stay with me. Let me look at this. We love One Martial Arts. Wow. Super cool. And the newest review was sort by newest. A week ago. Oh my goodness. A week ago. Who's with me? Come on. Who's with me? Who's with me? Because, and that's why I lean, look at that. A week ago. Beverly Raw. That's so cool. That's so cool. Right? So, do you see that story I just told? Research Rita is up late at night. The kids are in bed. Her child's having some challenges with focus, and she's heard about martial arts because she's done her homework. So she looks for kids karate. Oh man, look at San Francisco. We're number 1. We're at the top of the page. I love it. I love it. So, and again, look at your key search, look in your community. I could go to ChatGPT right now and say, when a mother is looking for martial arts schools in San Francisco, California, what are the top 3 keyword searches? And then I can make sure that under my Google business page, those keywords are active. Something as simple as that, right? When you're writing some esoteric thing, about your martial arts, nobody's going to search for that. That's why one martial arts will be a universal word forever. UFC has cemented that with mixed martial arts. I don't believe we're going to fluctuate. I believe when Karate Kid comes out, right, that for a minute, we might get an uptick in the search for kids karate. But overall, it'll always be martial arts when it comes to key search words. And of course, fun and exciting activity for children. That's huge. And all of our ads and everything we test at Kin Creative, fun and exciting activity for children, top, performs well in an ad, a key search, and everything. You with me? Am I going too fast? Conrad came up number 1. Good. Marco's saying we have a responsibility to be the guardian of our brand. If it doesn't represent it properly, then don't post it. Yep. I'm tired of seeing post things that don't have anything to do with their brand. And it's yeah. And please stay away from politics and religion. Whatever you do, do not use your social media platform to go off politically. I learned that as a kid. I remember seeing this interview when Elvis Presley, anyone remember Elvis Presley? He was alive. And they were doing an interview with him. And they were asking him his opinion on some political situation. You know what he said? I'm just an entertainer. I just sing. And he let that go. But what he was really saying is, my mama taught me you never discuss religion or politics with anybody. And I believe that's still true, especially when it comes to our brand, right? And what we're doing. So be very, very mindful of that. Okay. Good. Everybody's coming up number 1 now. But again, Conrad, if I click on number 1 and your last review was 3 years ago, that's a bad day. What Google loves is that you have a dynamic business page, as well as your website. That's by going in, changing a picture, updating things, doing a new pop-up, all those different things that I try to actively do with our website improves our SEO, right? You always hear that SEO, right? There's so much when it comes to optimizing that and your strategy in how you play that out. Okay. But definitely Google, right? So if you're all coming up number 1, I'm proud of you. But I also want you to be mindful is now that I'm looking, what is it that I see, right? What is it that I see? Okay. One Martial Arts San Francisco, 20 plus years in business, 121 reviews, 4.9. Below me is another school, 10 years in business, 4.9 stars, just like us, but only 33 reviews. Huh. What do I do next? Right? What do I do next? Who's closer to me? Then I'm going to go deeper and probably go into the site. All right. So I think that's a really big one because we know one of the obstacles for people is this close enough for me to drive to? So make sure at your Google business page, you have the map, the little pin on the map. That's got to freaking be there. If it's not there, go back and fix that right now. If it's not there, go back and fix that. Something as basic as that, right? Something as basic as that. Yeah, Marco, this is a great one too. And it's something I'll add in. I'd like to add, stay away from using other intellectual property you don't own on your posts, i.e. Disney, Marvel, even Karate Kid. Just because it's hot right now, it's not yours and has nothing to do with talking about your brand. You look at all my stuff, there's none of that. None of it. I think it's a horrible, horrible behavior with influencers by linking to something that's viral right now. Right. And it's horrible. I'm not going to associate my brand with some really horrible things that are out there, but people are jumping on because it's viral right now. It's viral right now. Right now. So yeah, I never do that. And if you do that, I watch people do that. There's this one guy out there that calls himself some kind of Star Wars Academy. And I don't know why Star Wars hasn't sued him at this point because it's straight up plagiarism. I think it's like Jedi something or something. I'm like, whoa, wait till they get wind of that. You're going to get sued. And you've branded that on t-shirts and everything else. I'm not sure why they believe that's okay. I mean, that's business 101. But you're right, Marco, you are so right. But what that shows me in a brand, and it also shows Google, by the way, if you're one of those influencers out there at social media that simply, attach yourself like a leech to something that's viral as a talking point to get more views and more likes, stop it. Stop it right now. Cool. So going back to Google, you want to get at least triple reviews. We're like 128 in San Francisco, and I'm not sure what Millbrae is right now. And we keep working at it, but we make sure they're authentic. They're real interviews, real testimonials we've earned, right? We've earned. But if you want to get the little stars on the left side, this is a hack. If you want to call it a hack, you have to have at least 9 5-star reviews before you get the little thing up on the left-hand side, right? Yeah, I think that other school had 9, right? The one in Millbrae had 9. So I think it's 9 is the number. And then at least when I'm scrolling, I see the 5 gold stars. And the reason I like the 5 gold stars, I'm using it actively in my kids' classes because parents relate to it so much. I go to Amazon. I'm researching a product. What do I look for? The 5-star reviews, right? I go to a movie. What am I looking for? 5-star review, right? So the star system is just very acceptable, right? A level of excellence is 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. So again, I lean into that. If you go to my website right now, we put 5 stars. Look at the very top of our website. And that was a Steven Reinstein idea. The goal is you can't click through it and leave the website. It's just a JPEG up top, but it shows our reviews up front and center now. And I think that's had a huge impact. So even if you don't use market muscles, here's another hack. Put at the very top of your page, your Google rating and your Facebook rating, at least those 2. And if you got more, rock and roll, because people are conditioned. I go to Yelp and I'm looking for a restaurant. I look for 5 stars. How many reviews? The talking point with me and friends, if we're going to dinner, they got 4.6, right? It's just very normal. It's been normalized, and it has been for a long, long time. But I watch how little martial arts schools will be willing to lean into that. Just like all our attendance is done through a kiosk into our My Studio system. And people said to me, that's bad customer service. I said, no, it's normalized. You walk into Shake Shack, there's a kiosk. You walk into McDonald's, there's a kiosk. There's kiosks everywhere now. I go to Phil's Coffee, there's a kiosk. You order through the kiosk. It's very normalized, but we make up for it by serving better on the mat and taking time to talk to our parents, our friends, et cetera, right? Right? I mean, it's a menial task taking attendance. It doesn't exemplify your brand. It doesn't. It doesn't communicate live your best life. Saying hello to you at the front door does, right? Tying a 3-year-old's belt exemplifies living your best life. Saying your name, absolutely. But taking attendance by itself does not. You with me? So going back to Google, uh, get at least 3 triple digit, so at least 100. That should be your goal. That should be your goal. If you want to have an impact, that's just a tipping point. I've heard it from a lot of different digital marketers. I've had conversations with ChatGPT. And the reason I say ChatGPT, I'm going to tell you why. It grabs all the information quickly versus me scrolling through hundreds of Google pages to find information. It draws the best information, and based upon my personal need, I can ask it the right question to get the information I need extracted right from the vast web that's out there. So I want to make sure that I have at least triple digit 5-star reviews. So if you don't have that, make a commitment to consistently earn those. And that's a whole nother subject. How do you get those, right? We can do that one another time. Another big thing at your Google business page, and I lean into that right now because we're after Research Rita. She's looking for martial arts for her kids late at night, right? Make sure you put pictures, lots of pictures, update your pictures. Again, treat it like social media. I watch so many people do not, right? Because their habit is what? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So they never go to their Google business page and sit there and post it like they would any other social media platform. You need to. And if I'm not wrong, Marco, verify me on this. Google doesn't allow you to hook itself into something like Hootsuite, right? I can set up at Hootsuite, Facebook, Instagram, X, a couple of different things. But I don't believe Google allows itself to do that. Check that information for me, Marco. I want to verify that. And so then lots of photos, updates, when you're open, when you're closed. That type of public information I think is really, really valuable. We still have friends and family that have been with us for 3-4 years that will go to Google and look at our Google business page to find out if we're open on President's Day or not. So the disciplined habit of keeping your Google page as updated as your Facebook or anything else is monumental. Monumental. Write that one down. Now going back to your Google page, make sure there's an exterior shot, clear pin for directions. All of that should be present. And the reason the exterior shot is so important is why? Who can tell me why the exterior shot of your school, at your Google business page, at your website, everywhere is so important? Go. Nobody? Come on, my critical thinkers. And thanks for that tip, Marco, because you're right. It is a huge lack of clarity with your brand if every other thing is a Marvel or Star Wars or, someone else's article. I mean, I think, what's really scary? When someone takes one of my blogs, bites the whole thing, and then puts their name on it. Wow. I'm like, wow, you got some big cojones. But what you're really saying is, I don't know my brand. I don't know my purpose. I don't know my why. I'm lazy. Everything we don't teach in the martial arts, right? Everything we don't teach. So again, that clarity, going back to the why after consistency, is so important. It's so important, right? When it comes to social media. Nobody has an answer for that. Come on. Why do you got to have an exterior shot? Anybody? Nothing? Come on. Why do I need an exterior shot? And a big part of who I am is to teach you to think. I need you to think, right? Otherwise, you're going to fail. You're not sheep being led to slaughter. You're not just simply regurgitating what Brannon Beliso does or says. That's not good business. It's simply not. Come on. Nobody? And I see a lot of people sitting in there. If you're here, say hello. Tell me who you are, where you're tuning in from. I know you like to watch the show after, but those of you who choose to spend your valuable time with me, I love you. I love you. Conrad says to get people comfortable with your school to humanize it. That's a very good answer, sir. It's a very good answer. Here's a more simple one. More people have driven by your school than have actually been in it. That's it. Both my schools are strategically in an area um, that are high traffic. Very high traffic. San Francisco, the main bus line passes right by our front door, right? From Fisherman's Wharf all the way to Ocean Beach. Number one bus line. Millbrae, we're right at the entrance of downtown Millbrae. So for us, we realize more people drive by our school than have been in it. I mean, Millbrae has 22,000 people. We were at 505 today, right? More people live in Millbrae than they've been in my school. Oh, my ego's so shattered. No, it's not. I'm going to put an exterior shot of my school there for both of them. So I think that's important. Marco's saying third-party apps like Hootsuite and a few others will now allow you to post directly to your Google. Great. You can also post and link your Facebook and Instagram page to your Google business page, and it will post those. At very least, you can use Zapier to post as well. So there we go. It's expanded. But with Google, they're very protective of their native environment. And Google wants a sense of trust. That's why you can't run these big full-blown ads at Google, right? Got a little copy, things like that. They really want to control that narrative, as does Apple or Disney or any legacy brand that's been around a long, long time, right? It's the same thing here, right? You want to control the narrative. And it's not manipulative, it's responsible, right? I need a consistent brand message to earn people's trust, which gets them to believe in what we do and gets them to buy into it. Oh, did I say buy into it? Not buy into it, just to invest in it, right? And I think that's the big problem when you do your social media. I got to get people to buy into it. No, you don't. You want to get people to believe, because if they believe in what you do, they will invest and they will invest and they will invest. And that results in them spending a lot of money, right? We had this conversation yesterday with my lead guy, TJ, and he says, well, we have to decide if what it's costing us in student acquisition. Sometimes I think that's just like a term people like to throw around to be intelligent. So let's say worst case scenario, and this is like crazy. My student acquisition cost through my Facebook ads and all that stuff was $1,000. Okay. Am I going to lean in the potential that they're going to be there a month and quit? So I'm out $800, right? Because we're $269 for twice a week. Or am I going to go about it with the potential that they could be there all the way through black belt and spend 10 grand plus with us? See, if you looked at it that way and you knew everybody was going to spend 10 grand with you, would you spend $1,000 for a student? Absolutely. So I think sometimes those numbers people throw around to sound intelligent, but they don't really go deeper. There's so many layers to student acquisition and how you want to, validate that. Just like when some digital marketer would say to me, well, it's only costing you $1.50, to click through. I don't care. It could cost me $1,000 if you get me a quality lead that's going to show up and take a trial. So I think those type of vanity metrics are something we need to look at and be mindful of, when we put validity on them. You with me? Cool. So you've got the picture outside, right? It needs to be there. I'd put it on my social media page for One Martial Arts business page. Now, another great hack, please have a business page for your martial arts school and have a friends and family page. Private group just for your members. Because in that friends and family private group page, I can really nurture and cultivate culture and dialogue and talk about specialty events like the past Valentine's Day Parents Night Out. We'll watch the kids for free. You guys can go out to a restaurant without a kids menu, and celebrate your love on us. That's not something I'm putting at our One Martial Arts business page. Why? You get a bunch of people signing up, and then that aren't part of your school, and they're going to create resentments with your existing members because it's only the existing members that get that perk. Now, will I go back to my One Martial Arts business page and share one of the great, things people love about our community, or all of the family events that we offer? And then we go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay. We do mom and me party. We have a Halloween party. We have a holiday party. All those things are, exclusive to our friends and family that are part of our community. Yeah, I would do a post like that, which is consistent, but I would not give them the link to sign up for that parents' night out. Absolutely not. I only want it to be for people that are paying customers. You with me? Right? Then somebody said, well, what if they want to bring a friend? and that friend could be a potential student all day, every day. Yes, you may. You can come to that event. That's again, we're telling a story, and this is the story. There's no changing in the story. The story's been written. This is the narrative, right? And in that narrative, I have a friends and family page, which I nurture, to build that rapport, that trust, that relationship. And the business page communicates the brand. Okay, so big difference. So if you don't have a separate business page for your martial arts business and a private group page for your existing, we call them friends and family. We don't use the word members or students. Friends and family. Just Disney uses what? Cast member. There's no employees. There's nothing. No, they're all cast members. So again, that's part of that communicating the why. For Disney, it's always a show, right? So you're not an employee here. You don't pick up garbage or clean bathrooms. You're a cast member. You're a part of the cast that's communicating the Disney brand, the Disney why. All right. Okay, so we've really honed in on our Google, and it's kind of bounced over to our Facebook. I think what's really important when I'm looking at social media, and I hope you don't do this, and a lot of people would do this. Ralph from Switzerland. How you doing, Ralph? Is I can't tell you how many school owners tell me they've delegated their social media to some 15-year-old kid in their school. You see the headache look right now? This is my headache look. It's a headache look, right? You guys, please do not allow a 15-year-old kid to have reign on your social media page. Please do not do that. Number one, it's lazy. Number two, it's just lazy. And number three, it's just lazy, right? Will we assign it to certain people? Yeah, I'm never in San Francisco. Can I cross-platform some of the things we do and use it at both? Absolutely. But there's certain footage I need for the friends and family page that needs to be at San Francisco. If once in a while it's Millbrae at San Francisco and it's a cross post, that's cool, people. But if I love One Martial Arts San Francisco and I'm going through, hey, what's going on in One Martial Arts San Francisco? That's not our school. What school is that? Oh, that's the Millbrae location. Okay, one's fine, right? Because it's talking about the Easter party at both locations. No big deal. That's not my kid's class. Who are those kids? Oh, that's Millbrae. Stop it. Stop it. So I need to responsibly have somebody shooting me footage that they can at least put into a Google Drive folder that I can repurpose and do posts, right? And again, going down that rabbit hole of ChatGPT, I did this the other day. Stay with me now. I took my latest blog and I said, I want you to take this blog because it's February. We put the blog out there and it's in the e-newsletter, right? Break it down into 8 social media posts I can schedule out over the month of February. I didn't use it because I want to experiment and read them all and see how they behave. But I went, that's pretty cool. Then I went back and said, no, this needs to sound 100% of the content written by Brannon Beliso in this blog at this URL. And guess what it did? It didn't change a single word. It just broke it down into 8 social media posts. Then I said, well, can we reformat it with a couple of emojis? And it did that. So I'm telling you, with the technology that's out there, if you're farming it out to some 15-year-old kid in your school, shame on you. Shame on you. You with me? But I'm telling you, we can leverage technology to help make up for the limited time we have because we're teaching and doing all the rest. And for me, as long as it's not going to change my words or do some weird AI generated Santa Claus, I'm cool with talking to ChatGPT. If it's going to reform my stuff, like when it comes to writing systems, it's so simple. But I want to plug it with one of my systems and say it has to read like this. It's Brannon, just simply format it. So again, do not farm out your social media to a 15-year-old kid, nor do you do it with some VC in the Philippines. I did it once. Everything they sent me was using the latest filter, the latest special effect. Why? Because they didn't understand my brand. They didn't know, they didn't get my culture, they didn't get the why. So all they did was take a car talk, cut it up into pieces, right? Add some cool, graphic like money dropping behind my head and write captions, and half the captions were wrong because of the language barrier. And the band played on. I went, no, this is yucky. This is, well, it tested really well. I don't care if it tested well. I'm not selling mushroom coffee or an Ozempic weight loss drug. I'm trying to impact a 3 to 5 mile radius of my brick and mortar location. Are you with me? So a lot of the marketing habits that get lots of likes and views may not be the best strategy for you to implement in a community where you're only trying to affect a demographic within a 3 to 5 mile radius of your brick and mortar location. Who gets that? Who gets that? Right? And so going back to Marco's thing, when I post something from child psychology and they click the link and they're gone, that doesn't help my brand. When I methodically sit down and write my thoughts, my experiences, my learning, and how I translate to my team and community that learning to help strengthen the brand of One Martial Arts and live your best life, that's a whole nother day, folks. But again, why did I call today's show Social Media Hacks? Because people are coming here because they want to be lazy. They want to crack the code. They want the shortest distance between 2 points, right? But I'm telling you, you can use ChatGPT responsibly. Not lazy because it's convenient, but you have to build that. I've built this relationship with ChatGPT. I kid you not. And it understands how Brannon writes and Brannon thinks. So that leads me to my next part of that. This is one of my biggest I can't find a good word for it. I share this one passionately. I have one of the top martial arts blogs at any Google search. Search right now, martial arts blog. Tell me where One Martial Arts pops up. Now, this was done intentionally because it impacts One Martial Arts San Francisco and Millbrae. Why? Why? Because it positions me as an authority, as an expert in what I do. Are you with me? That's real important. And if you're just ripping off my stuff and putting your name on it, you don't think the algorithms at Google see that? Of course they do. And if people do that enough times, it's going to go, hey, all these people are taking Brannon Beliso's blog and they're just cutting and pasting it and putting it on their website. Google knows at this point. That's why they trust Brannon Beliso is an expert, an authority, a leader in the martial arts community. And his blog, we're going to rank number 3. Tell me right now, where does my blog sit for One Martial Arts? Tell me. Go do your search, martial arts blog, right? Yeah, right. Conrad wants to see that video. And no, I deleted and threw those out. I tried it for 3 months with that VC in the Philippines, Conrad, and I gave it up. I was done with it. So start writing. That's the last thing I'm going to leave you with today. Someone said, well, I'm not a good writer. Well, you probably sucked at martial arts the first time you stepped on the mat too, right? What's your point? What's your point? Successful people are just willing to do what unsuccessful people are not. And whatever skill set I lack, the good news is with today's information world, I can learn it. I didn't start out being a great writer. I started out as a songwriter, a poet, right? I wrote for the school newspaper. And then eventually, when I wanted to become a great writer, I went to John Corcoran, and he schooled my butt. I wrote 9 feature articles for MA Success. Then John told me, you need to write a book. So I wrote Live, Learn, Grow. And today I write copy for Kin Creative. I have a blog, but it didn't start that way, right? It didn't start that way. But again, how important is your brand to you? How important is your school to you? How important is all these things? And everything I named today, being consistent, knowing your why, cleaning up all your social media pages, right? Being mindful of what you do post, getting your Google business page up to snuff, right? Getting your website up to snuff, your social media platforms, separating them, private pages for your internal members, external for what you do business wise. They're two different narratives, completely. And then spending time becoming an authority on what it is that you do. And if you work with kids, you better write a lot about kids. And someone give me crap about that. Your martial arts blog isn't a martial arts blog. You talk like a parent about children. Yeah, because it's for one martial arts, right? And who is the biggest audience in the martial arts world? Kids. So I'm writing from that perspective. I'm not going to write about a rear naked choke. How far is that going to go with a mom with a 6-year-old kid? Go. It's not. It absolutely is not. Cool? All right. So let's start thanking our sponsors, Marco. Guys, put in your takeaways. I want them there. I want them there. I want them there. Put in your takeaways. Tucson, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting, Kid Creative. I love you. Good people, great services, running purpose-driven companies. If you need any of them, DM them, tell them Brannon sent you. Cool? It's Time Group Mentoring. Again, you know, I've been very patient like anything. Great things are built over time. All the team is developing their own voice, and that was essential because I can't do this by myself, but they needed a learning curve. So we've had a handful of clients. We've spent a year doing this now, and good people doing good work. I think what makes it unique is we work on every aspect of your business, but we're only a text away because it's the day-to-day grind that you need somebody in your back pocket. It's the day-to-day grind that you need advice in the decision-making and everything that you're doing. And my team that I've assembled are loving people who genuinely are in the trenches like you on a daily basis, which is important to me. And from that, I believe we're impacting and making a difference. And we've made it pretty affordable so that the average school owner on a fixed, I'm going to say fixed budget right now, because you haven't gotten to that version of success necessarily, it's something that you can afford. Cool? Cool. And then, of course, it's Time Life Freedom. I love the freedom that I experience with owning small businesses. Do I work hard? At times I do. Right now, someone's on paternity leave. And we had another instructor who had a brain tumor. Fortunately, it wasn't cancerous, but I'm in the trenches. And I want to be again, because I'm revamping the curriculum and I need to be able to stand toe-to-toe with my team when they say to me, we know better than you, professor. We teach all the time. You don't. That's my own damn fault. So if I'm going to revamp this curriculum and have an influence on it, I need to be on the mat a certain amount of time to do that. So conveniently, and because of the situation, I'm teaching several days a week right now. And I'm grateful to do that. I'm very, very grateful to do that. So we can continue this dialogue about social media. You know, it's a beast. It's a freaking beast. And the terrain changes all the time. But you know what doesn't change? Core values. You know what doesn't change? A good brand, right? You're always reinventing yourself if you want to be a legacy business, but the core values that drive that brand, the foundation of it, are unshakable. They're unmovable. But I know because it's not glamorous and you don't see the instant gratification that a lot of people are very haphazard when it comes to their social media. And I'm going to encourage you, you know, to become a black belt in social media. If you've watched me over the decade, pretty much longer now, I am consistent. This show has been every Friday, whether there's 2 people here, whether 10 people view it, it doesn't matter. Most great influencers break out after a long time because people want to trust you. They want to know you're there. Because, you know, people love you and trust you, and then you disappear or you remorph and all of a sudden I'm a food, you know, I'm a foodie guy. That's not it. That's not it. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Because a great brand is cultivated over time. Cool. So I hope you got a lot out of today. I would encourage you to go back and watch this one several times. And if you really want to have an impact, people say that all the time to me. What can I do? You give me so much. Share this with a lot of people. I believe I won't say misconception. I'm going to say lack of education. I believe because of the lack of education, people have a perception of what they should be doing in their business, in particular martial arts business, to best position themselves to impact their communities and, of course, create the level of freedom that they deserve, and be at that level of profitability in their business. All right. So where can you find me? Subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my podcast, Success Never Sleeps, and Mindful Meditations. We have them both there. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. And you could go to our YouTube channel and sit there for the next 5 years, and you'd still have tons of work to do on your business. Follow me at Instagram. That's a big one. Follow me at Instagram. Join our disruptor group. There's over $100,000 of learning just in the files alone. Why don't I advertise it? Because I want you to think. I want you to go deep. Someone said, how come you don't tell me when you got, all of these systems and stuff sitting in the files at the disruptors? And my answer is, why didn't you look? You with me? And that's what great, successful businesses do. They're always mining data. They're always digging deeper. They're always cultivating ideas. That is essential to being relevant day in and day out, year in and year out, decade after decade. But don't hop on trends. Ugh. AI is not a trend. AI is here. In some ways it's extremely scary. In other ways, it's very hopeful in some of what it can do. Cool. And it's finding that balance that helps us live the lives we do today. All right. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. I am Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, what are you going to go out there and do? Live your best life.